For 6 months on deployment in Germany, I believed my husband's promise that he would be the fortress protecting our daughter. But I was wrong. It all came crashing down when I heard my child's screams on an emergency call. Stationed at Ramstein, half a world away from home, I was powerless as I watched someone else invade my family. The enemy wasn't far away. He was sleeping in my bed, and his mistress dared to touch my daughter. They had crossed a mother's final line. I once trusted a man's promise, and the price was my daughter's safety. Could an intelligence officer remain silent when her own home had become a battlefield? I knew the answer the moment I heard that woman's threatening whisper to my child. From that point on, my marriage was no longer a matter of the heart, it became an operation. And in this operation, I would not lose. My name is Ava Miller, Captain, Air Force Cyber Intelligence. Nearly 2 decades in uniform taught me one thing: control is everything. On the battlefield, one misstep can get your whole team killed. But in our small house at the foot of Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado Springs, I was simply a wife, and more importantly, Lily's mom. That morning, the air in the house was thick, different from any other day. My combat uniform lay crisply pressed on the bed, next to a neatly packed duffel bag. This deployment was for 6 months at Ramstein, Germany. Long enough to miss my daughter's 9th birthday and her first ski season. The airport was a blur of noise, but in my arms, the world shrank to just 2 people. Lily clung to my neck, burying her tear-streaked face in my shoulder. She didn't say a word, just quiet, racking sobs that tightened my chest. "Daddy will take good care of you, won't he, Lily?" Ryan, my husband, knelt beside us, his voice warm and reassuring. He gently pried her hands from my neck and pulled us both into a hug. "I promise, I'll be the strongest home front so your mom can focus on her mission. I'm so proud of her." I looked into Ryan's eyes and saw my own reflection in uniform, and a promise I believed to be true. I kissed my daughter's forehead, inhaling the familiar scent of her hair, then handed her to Ryan. "Take care of her. You can count on me. Just worry about your job. Don't worry about anything at home," he said with a smile. I turned and walked away, not daring to look back. The boarding call echoed like an order, and as a soldier, I always follow orders. The first 3 months went smoothly enough. The nightly video calls were my lifeline, a cure for the homesickness. But then, things started to change, not suddenly, but slowly, like a hairline crack spreading across a wall. The calls became less frequent. Ryan started making excuses. "I have a late meeting with a partner in Denver. This new project is killing me. I pass out as soon as I get home." I didn't doubt him. His job was demanding. But the way he avoided the camera's gaze, the way Lily grew quieter, her eyes often darting off screen. An intelligence officer's intuition told me something was wrong. My suspicion became more than a gut feeling when I checked our joint credit card statement. A charge from a fancy French restaurant in Denver on a night Ryan said he had a working dinner. A few days later, another charge from a high-end jewelry boutique. I texted him about it. His reply was brief: "A gift for an important client." But I'm not just a wife. I'm a data analyst. I went on social media. And there, on the Instagram profile of a so-called influencer named Madison, I saw a picture of her showing off a brand new necklace. The caption read, "When you find a man who knows your true worth." The post was dated the same day as the charge on our statement. In the comments, one of her friends had written, "Congrats, that tech exec finally saw the light." One click on that friend's profile led me to a blurry, long-distance photo. Madison was beaming next to a man. Though it was blurry, I recognized the watch and the familiar build. It was Ryan. Everything inside me shattered, but only for a moment. Then, the cold discipline of the military took over. The pain was compartmentalized, replaced by a single objective. That night, I video called when I knew Ryan would be in the shower. It was just me and Lily. She looked sad. "What's wrong, sweetie?" I asked gently. Lily hesitated, then whispered, "Mommy, a lady named Madison has been coming over a lot." The name hit me like a physical blow. Madison. I'd seen that name a few times on social media, a well-known influencer from Denver. "Who is she, honey?" "Daddy says she's his special friend." Just then, Ryan walked out of the bathroom. He heard what she said. His face changed. He lunged for the tablet, snatching it away. "She's just talking nonsense. Kids these days." He quickly made an excuse and ended the call, leaving me staring at a black screen. "Special friend." It was confirmed. Anger began to rise, but I suppressed it. Not yet. I needed more. I needed to know the extent of this betrayal. I didn't know the answer would come sooner, and more brutally than I could have ever imagined. A few days later, Ryan took Lily shopping at the promenade shops at Briargate. I knew this because I had installed a location tracking app on her tablet, for safety reasons. About an hour later, I was in my office at Ramstein when my watch buzzed with an emergency call from Lily. My heart sank. She had never pressed that button unless she was truly terrified. I rushed out of a briefing, my heart pounding. I pressed the watch to my ear. The audio was distorted, but I could still hear it, my daughter's muffled sobs. And a strange woman's voice, sickly sweet. "I don't need a toy from you." Lily's voice was shaky but firm. "My mommy will buy me one when she gets back." "Oh, your mommy?" The woman's voice turned mocking. "Your mommy is off playing soldier somewhere, leaving you and your dad all alone. I'm the one here for him now, so you better be nice." Then I heard a sharp cry of pain from Lily, followed by a choked sob. "Shut up," the woman hissed. "What are you crying for? If your dad hears, you'll be in trouble with me." The call cut out. The silence that followed was more terrifying than any scream. I stood frozen in the hallway of a military base in Germany. The blood in my veins ran hot. The rage of a soldier, and above all, of a mother, erupted. They hadn't just betrayed me. They had touched my daughter. The game was over. Now, the war would begin. I walked back into the briefing room, my face a mask of ice, and made the first decision in my new plan. After that horrifying call, I didn't fly back to the States. Rage burned like a furnace inside me, but I knew the first one to lose control loses the war. An intelligence officer never moves without a complete picture of the battlefield. Acting on impulse would only give Ryan the chance to deny everything and destroy the evidence. I needed to be methodical. That evening, I video-called home as usual. My face on the screen was calm, showing only a trace of fatigue I blamed on work. "Did you and Lily have fun shopping?" I asked casually. "It was fine," Ryan replied, his eyes darting away. "We were only out for a little while." He sat on the couch, playing the part of the dutiful husband so smoothly. He talked about his work, about meetings, without a single flaw in his story. I looked at him through the screen and saw a familiar emptiness in his eyes. I looked at Lily, sitting silently beside him, the long sleeve of her shirt pulled down over her arm. She forced a smile, but her eyes kept shifting, glancing at her father before looking away. I could see the fear in every blink. My heart ached, but I swallowed the pain and anger. I had to be patient. For her. Immediately after, I called my mother, Emily, a retired teacher in Phoenix. "Mom," I said, my voice devoid of emotion, "I need your help with something. It's very important." I didn't tell her about the call from the watch. I only said I had a bad feeling, that Ryan seemed overwhelmed, and that I was worried about Lily. I needed to get her out of there for a while. "I'll call Ryan," she said immediately, her tone firm. My mother understood me. She knew when I was serious. "I'll tell him I miss my granddaughter and want her to come visit for a few weeks. Leave it to me." Just as I predicted, Ryan was thrilled. He thought he was shedding a burden, gaining more freedom to be with his mistress. He eagerly arranged the plane tickets for my mother and daughter, without a hint of suspicion. On the call to say goodbye to Lily, I told her, "Have fun with Grandma and Grandpa, sweetie. Mommy will be home soon." She nodded, but I saw the fear in her eyes. I knew my decision to get her out of there was the right one. Lily was safe. The biggest liability was secured. Now, nothing was holding me back. The operation was officially underway. As soon as the plane carrying Lily and my mother took off, I activated my eyes and ears. I contacted a top-tier private investigation firm in Colorado Springs, one I had already researched, discreet, professional, and most importantly, they didn't ask unnecessary questions. "I need your best team. I want surveillance on 2 subjects, effective immediately," I told the director over a secure line, Ryan Miller and a woman named Madison. I want all visual and video evidence of them cohabitating in my home. I especially want financial proof. Money is not an object. I need an ironclad case, no loopholes, and irrefutable in court. Over the next few weeks, my encrypted inbox received regular updates on the life I had built. Each email was another twist of the knife. I reviewed them not with tears, but with a growing, icy resolve. The first photos confirmed Madison had moved in completely. She was pictured on my porch, accepting a package addressed to my home, looking as if she owned the place. Another photo, taken through a window, showed her sitting in the armchair where Lily and I used to read, wearing my bathrobe. The sight didn't make me jealous, it made me sick. My territory had been invaded. Then came the videos. Them, intimate in the backyard garden where Lily and I had planted roses together. Ryan's hand on her waist in the exact spot where he used to push our daughter on the swing. I watched them shopping at Cherry Creek, laughing as Ryan swiped our joint credit card for her luxury purchases. Every laugh was a mockery of my sacrifice. But the cruelest blow was in the cold, hard numbers of the financial report. A large sum had vanished from Lily's college savings fund. That fund was her future, a promise I had worked tirelessly to build. The PI report confirmed its destination, a down payment on a new sports car. Ryan had stolen from his own daughter's future to buy a toy for his mistress. When I read that, the pain was gone. All that remained was an empty void and a steely determination. The final background check on Madison was merely a confirmation of what I had already deduced. Ryan wasn't the first. He was just another link in a chain of wealthy married men she had bled dry. He thought he was the predator, but he was just another foolish prey. All this time, I remained Captain Miller in Germany, excelling at my duties. I remained the distant wife, sending occasional brief texts. My calm, my distance, became the perfect cover, allowing Ryan and Madison to sink deeper into their complacency and arrogance. Finally, with 1 week left in my deployment, the dossier was thick and meticulously organized. Everything was ready. I booked my flight home, but not directly to Colorado Springs. I flew to Phoenix first. I needed to hold my daughter before stepping into the final battle. When I saw Lily again, she was back to her happy, bubbly self. She told me everything about her father's behavior, about Miss Madison's visits. She showed me the faded bruise on her arm. Looking at that faint scar, my resolve hardened into something unbreakable. I kissed her forehead. "It's all going to be okay now, sweetie. Mommy's home." The next day, I quietly flew to Colorado Springs. Unannounced, it was time for the curtain to fall. I landed in Colorado Springs on a Thursday evening, greeted by a cold, drizzling rain. I didn't go home. I checked into a nearby hotel. I needed to prepare, to review the file one last time, to steady myself. This wasn't a jealous confrontation. This was a sentencing. The next morning, I drove a rental car to my own neighborhood. I parked at the end of the street, far enough to be unseen but close enough to watch, and I waited. At 9 a.m. sharp, Ryan left the house in his work suit, driving his car to the office. About 30 minutes later, Madison emerged, driving the sports car my daughter had paid for, likely off to go shopping or meet friends. The house was empty. It was time to move in. I used my key and quietly opened the door. The cloying scent of Madison's cheap perfume hit me, a foreign and insolent smell in my own space. Her clothes were thrown carelessly over the sofa. A couple of wine glasses sat on the coffee table from the night before. I didn't clean up. I just walked through the house, calmly surveying the battlefield. Then I sat in my armchair, placed the thick briefcase on the table, and waited. Ryan was the first to return. He walked in, tossed his keys on the counter, and called out, "Babe, I'm home." He froze when he saw me. His face shifted through a series of expressions: surprise, confusion, then dawning horror. "Ava? You. When did you get back? Why didn't you tell me?" "I wanted it to be a surprise," I replied, my voice flat and emotionless. Just then, Madison walked in, her arms full of shopping bags. "Honey, you won't believe the sale I found." She stopped dead when she saw me. But unlike Ryan, her panic quickly morphed into brazen defiance. She dropped her bags, crossed her arms, and smirked at me. "Well, look who's back." the hero returns. "You're home earlier than I thought. But that's fine. We can get this over with. Ryan doesn't love you anymore." I didn't look at her. My eyes were locked on Ryan, who was trembling, speechless. "Ryan." I said his name, slowly and clearly. "Is she right?" He stammered, unable to form a coherent sentence. I didn't need his answer. I stood up, walked to the table, and picked up the briefcase. I didn't open it. I brought it down hard on the table with a loud thud. The sound of the metal latches hitting the wood silenced the room. I opened the case, letting the piles of photos, USB drives, and receipts spill out across their dinner placemats. Then I turned to Madison, my voice as cold as ice, devoid of anger, filled only with absolute command. "You have 5 minutes. Collect what's yours and get out of my house. If you are still here in 5 minutes, the police will arrive and remove you for trespassing." The authority in my eyes, the bearing of a military officer in full control, made her flinch. She glanced at Ryan for support, but all he could do was shake his head helplessly. Realizing she was on her own, Madison ground her teeth, stormed into the bedroom to grab her purse and a few items, and stormed out, shooting me a look of pure hatred on her way out the door. The door slammed shut. Now it was just me and Ryan. "Sit down," I ordered. Ryan collapsed onto the sofa like a prisoner awaiting his fate. I pulled the briefcase towards me, opened it wide, and dumped the entire contents onto the table. Papers scattered across the wood. "This is you and Madison in Aspen," I said, sliding a photo towards him. "This trip was paid for by Lily's college fund. This is her car," I added, placing the bank statement and purchase agreement next to it, also from Lily's fund. "And this," I spread out a series of photos of them coming and going from my house every day, "is proof that you two turned my and my daughter's home into your love nest." With every piece of evidence, the color drained further from Ryan's face. Finally, with the full truth laid out on the table, he broke. He slid off the sofa and onto his knees on the floor, sobbing. "Ava, I'm sorry. I was wrong. She bewitched me. Please, please give me a chance. I'll fix it. Please." I looked down at the man begging at my feet. There was no satisfaction, no pity, just a cold, empty void. "My forgiveness is not for a man who steals from his daughter's education to entertain his mistress," I said, my voice unwavering. "My forgiveness died the moment I heard my child scream on the phone. You let a stranger harm her. You crossed every line." He choked and stammered, but I wasn't listening anymore. For me, this marriage was over. The very next day, my lawyer served Ryan with divorce papers. A copy of the entire evidence file was included. The legal battle was swift because there was no battle. Faced with irrefutable proof, Ryan didn't dare fight back. My lawyer's argument was sharp, focusing on infidelity, misappropriation of assets, and especially the emotional abuse his mistress inflicted on our daughter. Lily's professionally recorded testimony about the incident at the mall was the final nail in the coffin. The court's ruling was decisive. I was granted full custody. All joint assets, including the house, were awarded to me due to Ryan's financial misconduct and gross breach of trust. He walked away with nothing but the debt from the car he'd bought Madison and an internal investigation at his company. I didn't have to lift a finger. An anonymous copy of his financial records was all it took. A few weeks later, Ryan was facing a lawsuit for embezzlement from his own employer. A traitor often digs his own grave with his own hands. I simply gave him a final push. A few days later, I went to Phoenix to bring Lily home. As we entered the house, she hesitated. I knelt down and hugged her. "From now on, it's just you and me. This is our fortress again, my little soldier." Together, we purged the house. We repainted walls, bought new bedding, and donated everything Ryan had left behind. The house slowly shed its bad memories, and Lily's laughter began to fill the rooms again. My career continued to advance. After successfully completing my deployment in Germany, I was recommended for a promotion to a new position with greater responsibility. I had proven that a woman, a soldier, could stand tall against any storm. A few months later, on a bright Sunday morning, Lily and I were replanting the rose garden in our backyard. The house was filled with sunlight and laughter. My phone rang, a call from my unit, informing me of a new, challenging but glorious mission. I looked at my daughter, happily playing in the dirt, then up at the clear Colorado sky. I smiled. I knew that no matter where I went, no matter what enemy I faced, I would always win, because I knew what I was fighting for. I was fighting for my fortress, for the little soldier waiting for me at home, and for the dignity I had fought to reclaim.